Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I wanted to talk about the natal aspect of Venus conjunct Pluto. You sexy people, let's talk about this aspect. So this one, of course, you're going to see in all the descriptions that it is a very intense aspect to have. That's probably one of the main keywords is intensity. Now, I've also found that it's not just the love life that these people are intense in. There is a great intensity about basically everything, but they don't always like to show people how incredibly passionate and intense they are. So it's almost not as obvious as some of these other Pluto aspects because there really is like a great secretiveness with this conjunction. Now, they are still very physically attractive. When we have Venus conjunct a planet like Pluto, there is a real charisma and attractiveness, and I would even say like their aura is quite magnetizing to all that is meant to be attracted to them. So the conjunction, it actually it can be interpreted positively with many benefits. We'll talk about that, but we'll also talk about some of the challenges as well because it isn't an easy conjunction to deal with. But I do personally feel that the conjunction is a lot easier to deal with than like the square or even the opposition. So because we're dealing with things in the same sign, so it's just like a doubled intensity. And of course, they're going to carry some traits of Venus in Scorpio, but of course modified by the actual sign placement that this conjunction is taking place in. So I feel like people with Venus conjunct Pluto are born holding on very tightly to what they love and to what they value. And they're very like grippy, they hang on tight, and there is like one of their biggest lessons is to learn how to let go of that death grip on what they want and what they desire and what they love. And there's a great issue of being very attached. And where does that attachment issue come from? It can come from a very deep insecurity and a feeling, or even maybe this is something that's come from past lifetimes or even this lifetime of things being taken from them. So this is a common aspect to see where we've had a partner actually die, or we've had people in our life, people close to us, sudden shocking changes that alter the heart forever. So there's kind of like an element of like shock, not like Uranus though, because Uranus is actually the more planet of shock, but it's like this life of constant transformations in regards to Venus energy. And so there is this kind of like fearful expectation of loss or betrayal or abandonment. And this is, all a part of what these people have come into this lifetime to deal with, is these profound fears of loss. And that might be more under the surface for them. Like it might not necessarily be that they even are conscious of that being why they hold on so tight to people. But it's really hard for them to take anything lightly. It's really hard for people with Venus conjunct Pluto to be lighthearted. And it's not that it's like a pessimistic placement, really. It's just that the level of passion is so high. The level of like no chill. Like it's like these people with Venus conjunct Pluto have no chill. If they want something, they cannot let it go. They cannot stop thinking about it. They cannot stop obsessing about it. If they want someone, they want to consume your soul. And it's a very intense kind of love. Like and on a deep level, it's because there actually is a certain level of soul involvement and soul activation with these people. They want to merge souls with you if they're in love with you. And, on the spiritual level, that is coming from this. I feel like people with this placement are actually kind of evolved souls. And they've come to this lifetime to deal with a certain amount of plutonic issues and self-worth issues and attachment issues to do with love and to do with self-worth. And Venus can also be financial things as well, so they might have also come to deal with financial issues with this conjunction. So they've come with this purpose to really go there with these issues. And so this lifetime isn't about being on the sidelines or being involved in more lighthearted kind of like relationships or a more like superficial life. There are certain placements that indicate that we have come for a more superficial life, right? Like there are things like, so don't just think that I'm doing a general thing here, because you could talk to someone with Venus conjunct Jupiter, and in a way, they might have come for a more kind of hedonistic lifestyle. Now, people with Venus conjunct Pluto came to life to deal with some intense issues. And you have to look at the sign, you have to look at the house placement that this conjunction is taking place in. This is a major theme, this is a major area of focus. This is something that we do actually have a gift for, we have a talent for, we have a charisma. Like I said, these people are very sexy. There's an attractive power. You might not realize how intense they are, but you definitely realize that they have sex appeal, and they have definitely a certain charisma that is rare, and it can actually be very even disturbing in a way. I mean, there is some books will say this is the aspect of like a sex symbol. You can see that. You can see, actually, you want to know something funny? This is just off the top of my head. I don't know if you guys, I don't really watch the news or listen to what's going on in the world, because I focus on my, like, what I need to focus on. But like, I have seen in the news like Kanye West and his wife, and she basically walks around naked all the time or whatever, and we don't know the reasoning for that. I mean, some people say it's because of him and what he said, and other people say, oh, it's just her free expression, whatever. I don't judge. I'm just like, I've just noticed it. But I, of course, had to look up her birth chart, and she has a Venus conjunct Pluto in Scorpio aspect in her natal chart. And I might be wrong, because sometimes I don't correctly memorize astrology of celebrities, but I'm pretty sure it was an exact Venus conjunct Pluto in Scorpio. And I was like, oh, okay, of course, right? And so, I mean, that is going to be a very extreme example of Venus conjunct Pluto. You can definitely see this show up in people who are much more modest, but there is, they really want to, on some like deep level, have power through their sensuality, through their sexuality. And, one way to have that is to be more sexually revealing, so that's one possible manifestation of a Venus conjunct Pluto aspect. Now, it's funny with the conjunction, because other people will do the exact opposite, and you can see people who, as a form of control and like to have power, they don't reveal their body at all. So it really depends on a lot of other things in the chart, what will come out with this. But there is issues around sexuality, there is issues around really femininity, because Venus is an aspect of our femininity. It's like the sensual feminine lover goddess energy. And so when it's conjunct Pluto, we don't really have a lighthearted expression of this. So you could actually see, even in the same person, in different times of their life, someone being overly sexual or overly, showing off their body like that. And then other times of the life doing the opposite, being celibate, being dressed like a nun or whatever. So the main thing with the conjunction is that there's an issue here. There's a focus here on sexuality and the power and the influence that can bring, right? So we can definitely see it show up in people who want to be noticed for that aspect, especially if maybe there's issues of self-worth, right? And so if we found confidence in one area like this, or we found that this is a way to get what we want, because there is a level of manipulation with this aspect, there is a level of wanting to exert power over others, wanting to get other people to do what we want with this aspect. And that's something that, does need to be worked on in some cases. If we found a way to do that, whatever way that may be, we do tend to kind of get in a pattern of relying on that when, really true power will not come from manipulating others. True power will not have to be underhanded. And that's something like that people with Venus conjunct Pluto can learn, is like that, yeah, like what they do to try to exert an influence or try to get something, like it's almost like they need to learn a lesson in like unconditional giving and doing, and like just being who they are authentically without any agenda, just realizing that, like, with Venus there conjunct with Pluto, like abundance is an energy, it's abundant, and we don't have to do something to get something, right? And that's what they can really need to learn, is, yeah, like how to just be authentically them without shame, realizing there's nothing wrong with who you are in any way. You are perfect as you are. You don't have to look a certain way to get something you want, or you don't have to be a certain way in love, or in with money. You don't have to. Venus Pluto can also be a little bit of like prostitution energy, along with Venus Saturn, actually. And recognizing when we have these Venus Pluto contacts that, like, yeah, we don't have to do something, we don't have to sell out, we don't have to yeah, like have that kind of prostitution energy around our heart and around love, self-worth, and financial issues. So yeah, it's a very incredibly deep placement. On the positive, I do believe this is a soulmate lifetime. People with Venus Pluto aspects, all the aspects, I feel like have come to learn about soulmate relationships, and I mean incredibly deep, intense, intimate soulmate relationships. People with the conjunction usually have a soulmate lined up, but they also usually have to learn a bit, transmute a bit, do a bit of healing first. So there's the potential, there's like equal potential for like huge betrayals, huge losses. Like I said, there could even be a partner dying or abandonment, things like that. And then also, there could also be abuse situations as well that they have to get themselves out of and stand up for themselves. That can be a part of the lesson in this too, is like saying no to being abused, and extracting themselves out of these situations and regaining the self-worth. Because Venus Pluto, you will have to die to these old parts of you and be reborn as a new person with strength, and there will be many transformations in life. So some of these can be of more darker kind of themes here. But yeah, I do feel that there is a destiny to have a profound soulmate relationship that also is like the vessel for transformation. And more often with the conjunction, we see longer term relationships, like there is a soulmate that eventually does just fit and click, and they're together for an incredibly long time. And of course, Venus Pluto people would love for it to be eternity. There can also be a huge jealousy, which will be naturally healed and dropped off once they really learn the lessons of self-love and self-worth and self-acceptance. But that's one of the issues and themes as well. And another thing on the positive side is that there is an element of like ruthlessness in getting what we want with Venus conjunct Pluto. So that does tend to usually lead to success in life, even though it's not necessarily an easy journey. These people do not give up. Like I said, they have no chill. So they're very intense, they're very passionate. That passion is really a manifestation power. And Pluto can really represent manifestation, because when you're so intense about something and you're obsessed with it, it becomes impossible for you to not manifest it in some form. So with Venus conjunct to Pluto, there usually is financial wealth, and there is a certain level of personal power, sexiness, and charisma, even though they might have to go through a lot of self-worth issues to get to it. They will certainly go through it, and they basically can't not, with the level of intensity that they have. So it does end up leading to success in the various areas that they want, because what they want is like felt so strongly, so passionately, so obsessively that they almost like, yeah, they can't not get it. They just will end up with what they want. Um yeah, it's a incredibly powerful aspect. They can be also very psychic. There is actually a gift, and sometimes they never use it, but there is a gift for understanding people, and psychic ability, and understanding like the deeper things going on with people that maybe they're not sharing. There's an ability to kind of bring out the darkness in people and then heal it in them. So it's actually a great position to have if you're a healer, or doing any type of like therapy work, or dealing with emotional issues in people, because it's like the Pluto brings it out and then the Venus soothes it. So it's really a great aspect for any type of healing work like that, or counseling, or yeah, they have a powerful healing energy and effect on people. And people really are fascinated by them. There can be fame, like I said, there can be wealth. Um, it's definitely a lifetime that, like I said, you've come to deal with things, though. It's not going to be an easy life. And the love life is not going to be simple, but it can be profoundly healing. And like I said, the soulmate relationship, the relationship that is in the cards for a Venus conjunct Pluto person, is like a relationship that most of us will not see in our lifetime. The level of depth and intimacy. I don't particularly believe in the twin flame theory, but if somebody was going to have it in their life, it would be someone with Venus conjunct Pluto. So, yeah, what else do I want to say about this? This video is already quite long, but it's a very, uh, very intense, hard to describe aspect. So, this video is a little bit longer, but yeah. So, I mean, just something I noted in doing, I do charts of everybody, right, in my family and everything. So, my grandfather actually had this conjunction in Cancer. So, Pluto in Cancer, there's probably not many people around with that placement, because they would be too old. But anyways, so my grandfather had this conjunction in Cancer, and I just noticed this recently. And just something interesting, a manifestation about it being in Cancer, he has really left a legacy behind. And my grandfather, he was in politics. He was actually the mayor of our town out here, like in the 70s or the 80s or something. And he definitely, yeah, had a power. Like, I mean, yeah, he, and as like over our family, he's left a legacy. Like, there's a park named after him. There's, yeah, like, and everybody in my family, we just all look up to him. And he's a great speaker. He was a kind person. And I just really feel like the Venus conjunct Pluto in Cancer came out by, like, in Cancer, the family, the lineage. He's left something behind that's just like everybody like aspires to be like him or looks up to him. And he also was an artist as well, so he was like in politics. And he was a very like people person and very good speaker. And then, but he also was very artistic. And I have some of his paintings in my house. And he actually passed away when I was 3, but I feel like he left a profound impact on even me. And I feel like he's maybe one of my like spiritual guides in a way as well. But yeah, he had the Venus conjunct Pluto in Cancer. So I feel like in Cancer, it sort of manifested as like this family legacy. And also his wife, my grandmother, they were like, many old couples are, they were together for, their whole lifetime. And she's a Scorpio moon. And she's got some other plutonic things going on. But Yeah, just an interesting side note. I thought about Venus conjunct Pluto in Cancer since, there isn't many people probably left with that conjunction on this planet. If he were still alive today, he'd be like, uh, yeah, what would he be? I don't even know. 1924, so he'd be over 100 for sure. So, yeah, anyways, just random side note. Yeah, I'd love to know your experience of this conjunction. If you had it or you know someone who has it, let me know your thoughts on this powerful conjunction. And thank you so much for watching, you guys. Love you guys. Thank you for the requests. Keep those requests coming, and we'll talk soon.